won the game against Carmine Corp Blue Stars 13-8. It was really hard for them, for Carmine Corp to break that defensive side, and Mandatory, they're starting on defensive side, so it's going to be really interesting to see whether they can actually bring the game to a really good pace with this composition. They need to win that pistol, like I highlighted.
I like the point that you made, though, with pacing, right? Because given the fact that Eternal Fire are a very explosive team, their composition in this map as well looks to kind of break through, brute force into a lot of sites, into a lot of situations. And it feels like Mandatory might be able, equipped with what they have, to be a good direct counter to this. Obviously, like you said, they'll struggle on attack. So I wonder how this will go, considering that. But, you know, is there something that they can rely on into this attacking side? Is there some sort of exploitation they can kind of do against Eternal Fire's comp? Because they themselves look good on the attack, but then you could argue maybe the defensive aspect of it might lackluster a bit.
I mean, I want to take into that the attacking side again, because yeah, obviously you don't have Cypher, you don't have Viper in that composition, which makes the lurks even harder. You cannot really play that A side as easily. Yeah, you have Vice who can get.
I think that reversed over their heads by BBL Pacific, defeated in the same manner they dispatched so many. Mid is where they'll go knocking at the start, just as the desk predicted. Nail on the head. There is no utility here to bear witness. Enzo holding onto the wall, buying as much time as possible. As the Vice utility's been placed on the B side, it's Izzy spotted and Kushina taken down first.
Still, Enzo hasn't used that wall, and the delay coming through from Mandatory is perfect. Hopefully using it for a retake or whatnot. Brave has just jumped into the B site, and I think he's going to struggle to escape here. And as that's the case, Mikey gets a whole load of information from that mid portion. And while Eternal Fire look to try and clear out A through Sider's utility, Mandatory are here already.
Sivov already in backside. Sider decapitated. 5 versus 2 situation for Eternal Fire. Anima winning a 1v4 ace clutch yesterday. Quite a few of those situations he excelled in. The flash, like a lightning bolt, flies across the screen. The paranoia placed on top looked to be just as good. Izzy's taken a couple, but as you can already see, the round is won for Mandatory. That's the start that the defense so desperately needed.
Yeah, the pistol round straight back in. Second out of 3 so far. Both of them coming from the defense side, so you can see where Mandatory feel most comfortable. It's the attack that they have struggled with in the past, especially with how slow they can be. We've already spoken about that, but it'll get things kicked off to the perfect start. Kellogg's already bringing out that Outlaw.
That's going to just make things even more difficult when he's floating around in position here. I mean, in terms of what was said, we're not going to see any direct executes. I think what is about to happen is going to prove to be quite the contrary, because Eternal Fire, seeing that the Vice and Sage were more towards mid and B, trying a little fast-paced play towards A. Unfortunately, they get put in the dirt early doors. That smoke from Mikey doing the heavy lifting, as the rest of the Mandatory players can follow up behind it. Izzy with a consolation, but no weaponry to be recovered. No head on which to direct the rest of his body. Anima in another 1v4.
Kellogg's already noted him towards mid as well, so with him disappearing away from there, Mandatory should know. Coming back towards A main.
It's just a classic as well, so an extra ult orb maybe for a player. Sivov up to halfway could be nice. Kellogg's is the one that you really want to get it on for the showstopper, but he's all too far away. And it's another brilliant flash. Great utility from Sivov, proving his worth in multiple metrics. Nice idea here from Eternal Fire, but Mandatory are quick to react.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it just comes down to weaponry diff as well, but the couple flashes that have come through from Sivov have been absolutely spot on. I think that's going to be the most interesting later on to see the value that Sivov gets from the kills. I mean, maybe it's one for the analyst desk to see how many direct flashes result in a kill.
Definitely something to keep tabs on. It's not every day that you see KO played on this map, especially in this Teho Breach meta that we currently sit in. Eternal Fire gravitating towards that on a number of different maps. Cider just wants to try and activate the wall. I mean, we saw Brave in the same position before. It's still not gone up somehow. And already you're seeing Eternal Fire struggling to manage this utility placed in front of them. And with Brave taking extra damage on the way back out, you've got 3 players around about 50 points of health or less now.
It's not only that, Cider, when he peaked, actually saw 3 players towards the B Heaven spot. So should automatically be a quick pivot towards it. He's taking a bit slower. Mandatory again, it's the same 2 players who managed to get effectiveness like this. Exact same hold. Mandatory straight in. This bonus looks absolutely brilliant.
Further value from the layered utility as well. Mikey consistently replenishing these smokes. Anima and Orb is as good as it's gonna get. 25 seconds and you're thinking about a save, Eternal Fire. Extra time, a timeout minus the coach to think about what have we done wrong so far? What can we do to actually dispel this stockpile of utility which Mandatory have at their fingertips? They've not been able to bait out barely anything with how they've attempted to play so far. I think ramp control could be really important through Izzy as well, just using those cages to see if you can force a bit of a reaction. Garage has been explored and to trigger that wall, but to no avail. A couple of rifles into the next, that's as good as it gets.
The thing that I love as well about the Vice setup on B is that when the players are coming in, the arc rose is kept and waited for as they look to use it as a re-engage tool rather than using it as like a kind of dispelling and sort of denial tool of the space.
An instant response. They're just holding on to it. I think the
100%.
utility management from Mandatory has to be key here. Cider sneaking his way up mid. Doesn't quite catch the suppression onto Enzo. The Razorvine has made it that little bit more difficult to take this space, and Enzo will stand his ground again on the Sage. Anima to clatter on the way back through. Tower is taken, but the site not yet.
Sevov just locking round. It's on the edge of the trap. I thought they were going to wait before destroying it. But look at this. On towards the site they go. And hit. Can't quite get the kill. Eventually does so. Sevov, supported by Kellogg's in mid, goes up against Cider and stops the spike going any further forward. Kushner, the only rifle left, which Eternal Fire have to depend upon.
They didn't come in with all too much Eternal Fire, but you feel as if the trades weren't too bad. They haven't been able to deal with a single lane on the map so far. The mid issue, the A push with the utility there, the Sentinels towards B. So many problems put in their face. Even, you know, the Sage of Enzo, whether it's the slow or the wall to give them quicker rotations through mid without the threat of a player cutting it off on the cross. Eternal Fire are looking kind of lost in this you know, first 4 rounds that we've seen played.
Yeah. I think as well, like that last round wasn't a done deal, right? There was a couple of rifles, a stinger there. Eternal Fire had things to work with, but I think the point that you make of they are not dealing with any lane on the map, and I think as well on top of that, they're not looking convincing in how they're doing it. They're hesitant, they're worried about the position they're being put in. Sage and KO shown towards A, and it's forcing Eternal Fire back towards this mid portion and potentially back towards Kellogg's as well, who's now off the Outlaw and onto an Operator.
Kellogg's liking to hold tight angles. You don't see him walk up with the op all too often, the same way that Comeback or Kushner would. A cute peek that he takes through the looking glass as Brave maintains position and Garage. All of this noise created towards the vacant mid position is to just try and attempt the threat of an A pinch. The wall went up early in main, but with that dropped, there is a deficiency for Mandatory. They're relying on Kellogg's coming up with the goods.
As you said, has it. Mandatory Always ready. Oh, just heard the stun go off. Can't quite grab the kill, but as Eternal Fire come in, Mandatory, they capitulate. They don't have any answer here.
A lot of utility used in the mid-round as well. That slight pause before the re-hit was huge for Eternal Fire. With Izzy exploring on another post-plant position, it's going to send them even further in front in terms of control. Man count, tower has been repossessed. Mandatory handed the eviction notice, and as Sivov tries to walk back in, it's a done deal.
Listen, sometimes Eternal Fire, who like to play fast and loose, just need to press the brakes a little bit. Enzo looking to see what he can get out with here. I mean, there's plenty of cash in the back pockets. This is just damage towards Eternal Fire.
And the captain's going to do a damn good job of that. 3 already that Enzo's going to take. Already has the res available. Moving more players in his wake, and I mean, look at the money for Eternal Fire. This is big damage that Enzo's able to do, and to very quickly open this discussion once again between the two in-game leaders. On the opposite side, some of the first 4 rounds we saw really signified that directionless calling on the attack, which we've seen from Cider, especially in that previous game against BBL Pacific, whereas this time, it's a lot more tempered, it's a slower pace, and it's critical in those moments that they are decisive, and that's what we end up getting.
Again though, like, they push themselves a little bit too far forward. Brave keeps the operator from the last round. If this is a loss for Eternal Fire, this could be another eco round that they have to deal with.
It's weird to see Brave on this op too, because you've got Izzy, you've got Kushner, and usually it is this solo Cypher player in A main that's trying to cut off rotations. Mandatory don't overreact to this kind of thing though, so actually Kellogg's posting up here is a pretty damn good move. He's going to get the value from it. Braves op goes, Izzy loses his head. You're down to the last 3 players in the middle of the map, and they're without the spike for now.
Eternal Fire have been so focused on mid that when it comes to the extremities and Mandatory being proactive, they just completely let go of it. Cider noted by Enzo, a couple of beauty tags, spike having to be recollected, but time is of the essence as always. So we hit the 40-second mark. Eternal Fire need to get a move on.
Those beauty tags, as you say, are a little more than cosmetic. Cider suppressed, 30 seconds for him to get the salvos up, but you're already in post by that point in time if Eternal Fire can stoke the embers of what is left of this round. Spike heading towards A, and the rotation's been made with the wall still up. Enzo knows, comfortable to make this kind of decision. The captain leads by example. Kellogg's the only one absent, but in his absence, authority still stands. Cider last left will bow his head. He knows when he's beaten, as Eternal Fire have been inside these first few rounds. It's more of the same as we see the second split in a row going the opposite way.
I'm wondering now if we are going to get John come and just introduce himself into the round, talk about what is going wrong. There is somewhat of a buy in the next round here. Instead, no, you're looking at Eternal Fire. They don't want to opt for it. They've just got a couple of shields to work with.
I mean, you're starting to come up on some big execute ults here anyway, so I think there's an argument to be made for Anima to throw the Rolling Thunder at it. Maybe Kushner go for something like a Judge, just satchel in, crazy play, but then again, it's wishful thinking on my behalf, because look at what they're up against. I think so many of these rounds have naturally catered to that slow pacing with an increase of the attack speed, turning up the dial in the late round. Here he goes, combo util, does take tower, Enzo caught, stunned, but not dead!
And at the same time, Kellogg's has got a pick from B main. Once again, this operator finds value.
And that's the rifle lost in the process as well. Deep behind enemy lines, down to 3 players, pistol in hand. Eternal Fire can wave goodbye to their chances in the 7th. It's a lucky one for Mandatory, but no luck required. Ooh, maybe a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. And Anima's not happy with those missed shots either, so sending out the... Oh, there's just zero capitalization, Cairo. You can't put it any other way. That's going to be a big missing piece in following rounds, and an expensive one to build up with us already being a quarter of the way through regulation.
30 seconds left though, and there is a round to be
Wait
had
a
here as
second.
players get isolated and Anima finds another. Sivov needs to be careful, but look at that, the paranoia timed to perfection, and Anima still doing work with only a classic. Mikey at the back of sight brings it to a 1v1 up against a player who's just made this work. The gun that
how
comes
have we
for
even
free.
got to this point in time? I have absolutely no idea. So much util Anima, but Hip won't lose from this position. The most clutches so far this event, adding yet another to his tally.
I don't know, man. Like, while that comes close, it still doesn't give you the round that you're looking for. Again, like, not to be too harsh on the ultimate usage, the point that I had loaded before, like, we got into the action was just, like, at the end of the day, when you think about it from this perspective, like when you're so far back, it's such a deficit, you want to be using these ultimates as a guaranteed round to try and break that gap. And giving away these ultimates gives not only just like, and not getting the value, not only gives the round to mandatory, but perhaps future rounds as well, and allowing that like that cycle to continue, that momentum.
And I completely agree with you here. I think it's a valuable point that you raise, because if there were any fingers you point at the Eternal Fire performance from their attack side yesterday, it would be that they were very loose with their ultimate usage. Remember seeing the Cosmic Divide and Armageddon both invested from like a 5v3 advantageous position post-plant on B site against BBL Pacific, and these are the kind of margins that you want to completely maximize when you're playing at the top level. That efficiency is shown through mandatory. Case in point, they have Royal Flush here, full house of ultimates from which to work with. And at this point in time, when you already have 6 rounds, they're going to be thinking the exact same thing. Okay, how many can we confirm with this? And look, they don't exactly necessarily even have to cater around to any specific ultimate usage. They can react accordingly.
Exactly, Hazza, they've had these ultimates for a long time and not used them. They're yet to use an ultimate in response to what Eternal Fire are putting forward. That's how comfy they are.
3 of those players have been spotted by the cam, so mandatory known about. Who's going to go up? There's a gap. Oh my god, this is just so cheeky from mandatory. Brave still in his utility. They break down the curtain, but it's a nasty surprise. Eternal Fire in their face. 3 kills volleyed right back down the mouth of mandatory. And with the spike plant coming in and Kellogg's the only player close by, there's little that they can do but watch this one slip away.
Listen, again, it comes back to that ultimate usage. Armageddon, if they really need to, but Cosmic Divide infested as well. This is a 2v4, and Kellogg's is on an operator. Eternal Fire look as if they're going to push this one over the line.
I love the idea, man. It was such a nice little variation on the play that we've seen them make when Enzo is one of those A defenders, because he's either placed the wall towards main, which has denied Izzy's lurking capabilities at time, or it's been mid for those quicker rotations, like I said before. But Eternal Fire keeping their foot pressed down, hammering home that advantage against the Red Hammers. Second on the board, but you've got to be stringing some more together now. This is your chance to build momentum. Kellogg saving the op is going to go a long way.
Yeah, this is carnage here. It's just the fact that all 3 players that were remaining in main still get away there is incredible. The other point that I was going to just quickly make though, Hazza, is just that like they still use the Cosmic Divide, right? Like that's still another ultimate use as well as the showstopper.
For sure. The only extra thing I had to say was just looking at the replay. Mikey's smoke dropping is what made that play a little less effective, I think, because you know, you could see the gap in the wall. Unlucky, I suppose. Mandatory can afford to give away one of those here and there, but still with 5 ults available, key chance to press the advantage. Izzy's aggressive. The brain of the duelist transplanted in the Sentinel player has taken an important first blood, an imperative one for Eternal Fire to keep moving forward.
Yeah, as one away from his neuro theft if he was to be able to drop a hat on a body.
It's Mikey that's gone as well, so with those smokes lost, you saw how valuable they'd been to shutting down this side of the map. Enzo drops in early, brings him back up on his feet, and with this new lease of life, Mandatory still have 3 players towards the site, and that ult's going to do nothing to stop them.
Yeah, Enzo noted. Kushner tries to check down below, but is caught for it. Mikey being able to trade that out, and you look at the 3 players on site, they're holding fast with Kellogg's waiting for anybody who tries to escape. The smoke blooms to allow players safe passage, and Kellogg's misses the opportunity.
Mandatory now must know what the situation looks like. It's a recall of the screen smoke. Mike, you know, it's his own utility. Paranoia comes out. Timing is awful. Mikey's got to go huge, and he was thinking about the TP. Caught between 2 minds, tongue twisted. And with Eternal Fire getting the spike plant in, the round is gone, and Kellogg's once more with his op in hand has a decision to make. It is looking like a save, but he wanted to see if there was damage to be done. I tell you what, the damage is going to come from Eternal Fire because Brave is ready to greet him. Oh no.
Get a kill.
Well, this is not how this one's supposed to go.
Yeah, I think as well, they're looking at all the players, they're looking to try and hunt them down now. The other point I was going to make is just, I think that the big thing that catches Mandatory out there is just the awareness in that round. Like, the fact that Kellogg's should have calmed, by the way, they've smoked in towards CT, they could be in heaven, and there's a chance they can walk towards the screens.
I think he did, though. I mean, naturally you would from that position. You saw Mikey checking it, but I think it's just a slight oversight more than anything else for them to actually have taken that space. I have no doubt that a player of Kellogg's quality would have notified his teammates, but sure, the timeout comes in. There are issues on this defender's side. That goes without saying. They have a few more rounds from which to work now to try and rectify that. You've invested some ultimates, and actually the first time you do, it's not a round win.
Yeah, it's not often that you see that, but there is still big ones to work with, like the Showstopper, Steel Garden, and Eternal Fire nearly have their Rolling Thunder back, even though they used it just 3 rounds ago. But the big thing here for Mandatory is the fact that they will be able to like adapt their setup from what's been coming forward to try and get the maximum out of the defensive half, because I think if this ended 6-6 from the dominance the French side has had would be a bit like heartbreaking. As for Eternal Fire, they get a second bite of the apple in terms of introducing John Sip and talking about what's been going right and where to go next.
I heard what you said, Kyra. You mentioned 2 of the ults when Mandatory have 3. From the shadows, actually, I believe on this map is probably one of the better places that you can use it, to be honest. So that's the reason for the change in setup. Like you said, Mikey's happy to go B main because if they play A, he can rotate quickly. Issue is, he's the one hot under the collar early on. Garage already taken. Kushner put right into the ground by Mikey. Simple enough spam. Gap can catch this cross as well, like you say. The gap was there. Can't make the most of the opportunity.
As he has a chance here to just escape as well with the angle being so shallow. Elsewhere on the map though, you look towards mid and look at where Eternal Fire are starting to make their inroads as well.
Yeah, Kellogg's has pinged this out. He knows where he is. That's so diligently played by the duelist. That was the only threat there. KO Knife confirms it. A has been settled in terms of the score right now. 5 versus 3. 2 players advantage. Steel Garden coming in, catching every single player in the middle of the map, and while Brave does get a single kill towards tower, the reposition from Mikey is prepared for anyone cutting across. He's taken away Garage. The gap is more towards A, and that's where Eternal Fire will go with 20 seconds left.
Spike was just momentarily dropped, but as you said, 15 seconds and the time is ticking away. Kellogg's still not cleared from the back of sight. Showstopper used to confirm it, and that will be Mandatory 7th. A guaranteed advantage on the next half. I'm sure they have to use a couple of ultimates. It's topsy-turvy. They didn't get good understanding of what's going on in mid and where Eternal Fire wanted to go, but in the end, Mandatory do well.
Yeah, Mandatory do brilliantly, and I think this is just further intelligent play from Kellogg's, someone who had struggled so far in this tournament, but ramped up performance as the playoffs came along. now into Split, it seems as if Mandatory might have what it takes to trade map picks with Eternal Fire. But we're not done yet. First half continuing onwards, as is Cider. His stealth drone confirms nothing there. Cosmic Divide is already being prepared. Eternal Fire are ready to push go. It's Mikey that they've got to get past yet again.
I'm not checked the corner. The Rolling Thunder hasn't even cleared either. At least there's a trade out from Cider from Eternal Fire. And that wall, the sheer, has bought time right now for Mandatory to get into position.
Like the floor flash from Hip as well to re-engage, as you say. That's all he was trying to take. Easy, just not spotted him, rounds the corner, strafes away. Eternal Fire now quickly making this reaction. It's Kellogg's again, the only A anchor. He must stand his ground and hold the line, or Eternal Fire will get past what must be another round.
It's just the operator as well, and at close range you are one and done. Mandatory doing the best they can to distract from Kellogg's position, but as they round the corner, Kellogg's does get the one that he's looking for, and Mandatory trade it out. Time is getting low, and a 1 versus 1. There is the Rose to work with, but Mandatory bloom at the right time. An 8th round for them, and one away from confirming a 9-3 half.
Strong start for Mandatory. Imperative trade from Cider, and as we say once again, he's called the right reaction, but they're a little slow on the uptake, especially with the neural theft there. Hip to win it, yet to lose a clutch so far in this map. Will continue to boon his statistics as he sits at the top of the charts in that regard. One final opportunity to hammer in yet another 9-3 for this one comp in a million.
It literally is. No other team has used it in all of Valorant, from Pacific to EMEA, from Tier 1 down to Tier 3. It is absolutely sensational.
And Americas and China, just very selective. But
no, I said from Pacific to EMEA because it's a wide berth. You know, it's like it's the world. You know,
it's a globe, mate. But I agree. And so, world class, sprayed down. Someone who's been to those international events, but story again, someone who feels a little too good for Tier 2, hasn't quite been able to cut it at the top. Recent years at the very least. Rolling him back right now as he's already got a couple of kills. Player advantage for Mandatory as it stands, but it's Mikey once more that needs to do it all, and the headshot won't suffice.
Heartbreaking. 2v2 though, still workable for Eternal Fire in this post plan. But if this hits, that could be big damage onto Kushner.
Ooh, it was played for the open plant. Kellogg's closing in. Can't make a meal of this. Kushner, 1 kill brings up his opportunity at a round win. The showstopper can't quite find it to light the fuse onto Sivov. And so with that shut down, it is back-to-back 9-3s in the only time you'll ever see this comp played on Split. Eternal Fire unprepared for a dominant Mandatory defense. Diving into the second half, it's an opportunity for Mandatory to flip this series on its head. A win deep behind enemy lines on Split would be a huge opportunity as the only team other than the Turkish title holders to have won it against Eternal Fire this year.
But the task is so hard when you look at the comp, very defensive-sided. But with that being said, if Mandatory can get to post, they have a very strong post-plant utility to work with.
Pistol rounds going each way so far. Mandatory's defense able to pick them up, or should I say every defender side has won the pistol round so far. Which does mean that it could be Eternal Fire's foot back in the door. As it stands, little util combo towards Vent to kick things off. Kellock's the one that picks up the orb from Garage. Diligent, the default. A slow one at that, though, and with no player yet deposited except for Mikey's walk up into ramp. It's a B site take expected. Just waiting for the timing on this trap break to fake this pressure as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's pulled 3 players towards the A side, and as 4 players are seen, it's now as quick as possible to get towards B. Mikey placed in towards a locked position, and Enzo placing Mandatory into an advantage.
Back to the retake, there is the nade available. Cam as well for Izzy. It's going to be difficult to get this one going, especially when Enzo puts the wall up in your face.
Yeah, I like this from Mandatory. They look to get the post plant set up before the spike is down. It's done, and now it's all about when Eternal Fire come back in.
Such a difficult angle to try and cross as well, the barrier. No flank, no second layer for Eternal Fire, but they've been clinical in reclaiming space. Flash from Civ off to try and start it. The Catalyst hasn't really got things going, but Mandatory follow up. They respond in brilliant fashion from those initial peaks. As soon as the contact was taken, so was the swing. Double digits locked for the French side.
I mean, that's the big thing, right? It comes down to that post plant that we mentioned just briefly at the start of this round. If Mandatory can get to that position, it feels almost impossible for Eternal Fire to come back into the site. A barrier orb, the Razor Vines, you put everything into it, and how does Eternal Fire get back into sight? And if they do get back into sight, how much time do they have?
They don't, and not enough. There was still plenty on the clock in that situation at the very least, but sort of as you put it, so much utility to worry about. I mean, every single kill you see in the feed has 2 or 3 names attached to it. It's never just the one, as Kellogg's continues towards this showstopper, of which Mandatory have placed importance. I mean, when you think about the execute ults that they have, Hip Steel Garden, Civ off with the null command. Interesting that they just want the rollout for their Raze main.
I think for me, the setup pivot as well from Eternal Fire. They've moved their 8 anchors towards A Heaven because of the way that Mikey was able to escape and pull players over. This time round, Eternal Fire, they're holding on to B Heaven and Hell. Not allowing the front sight to put themselves into a position in front sight. The lineups are in, and so are Mandatory, or so you would think.
They're really nice, going to stop any player backside from trying to take some sort of a peek. Suppression onto a few players, Anima over the setup, but there really isn't too much to call upon here. It's another round where Izzy hasn't been able to afford a trap, other than the one we had from him on the pistol on A, so I would like to see what Mandatory do when we have all of the Cypher utility available.
Yes, yeah.
With the rest of Eternal Fire ready to play off of that, but as it stands, Mandatory, even with the comp, say what you want about it, have done a really good job at shutting down areas more than anything. Right? Even that Razor Vine that drops back sight, the slow and nade on top of each other, it's repetitions of the same kind of pathways of utility that is making life incredibly difficult for Eternal Fire.
I'm wondering if Sivoff will reposition his Molly as a way to break the utility both are players looking to die to the spike, which is fair enough, deny orbs. But Mandatory, most importantly out of all of this conversation, have got to 11. They only need 2 rounds to finish out this map after what is 14 rounds played. It's incredible. An incredible start to this Eternal Fire pick as well, you have to mention.
It's a huge turnaround required from the Turks right now. 4 players grouped up outside of B. Mandatory, once again, same kind of approach. A team who has attended over half of the finals since the birth of the French League. In their first inter-regional competition, the only one to make it out of groups as the 2nd seed. Even if they were to make it to the next best of 5 tomorrow, they're never favourites in any sense, but what a story it's been so far. Kushina, hearing the rotation, 4 players thundering their way through attack side spawn. It's a full rotation for Eternal Fire with the full Cypher setup as well. As I said, this is their best possible chance to find a round. Lose here and you can start to think about Haven.
Pings towards the backside on A, a late flank to come through as well. Mandatory have their ideas of what they want to do, but still they're taking their time.
keloqz is just taking the orb right in front of them, underneath Eternal Fire's nose. If you can't find a way to convert a setup like this, then your best chance is possibly gone. Kushina, meal of those first couple of fights. The follow-up will be there though. Cider clean enough, and that round is near flawless in the end, or at least it should have been from the Fire. They had all the information, and they made it count.
I don't know, I want to put a question mark in that run from Mandatory. Yeah, I don't know, like they just don't react to the flank coming through, like no player turns round until Mikey does, and then by that point there's already 2 players towards Kushina. Look at Mikey, he's jumping away rather than stopping and killing.
I mean, look at some of the shots as well. Like, let's be frank for a second. That was a big opportunity to punish, but the bigger issue, lack of mid-control. One of the few rounds we didn't see Mandatory explore there, and it's through the information gathered from Kushina that they pay the ultimate price.
Back towards mid. I think Mandatory have identified this as a problem.
Yeah, it's a nice start to the round from Eternal Fire as well. As that drone discovers the Vice Wall, it's instantly trapped by Izzy, and they can cause this rotation.
Showstopper in, there's trades either way, but it's Cider who comes out on top. Brave does not want to give away their position, and Izzy just putting that little cherry on top for the round. A 1v3 for Hip to try and recover from, has a flash to work with as well to consider. Also has to rescue the spike.
But as we say before, he does feel a little unbeatable in these clutch situations. The double up from Cider and Brave is what will put a stop to that though. Stamped out, 5 for the Fire. These setups have been very successful. The information that they're collecting on the extremities right now is the undoing of Mandatory.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And now they're starting to do damage towards Mandatory's economy. That's another buy which they'll be relegated towards just 2 rifles to work with. Mandatory, we always knew we're going to struggle when it comes to this attack, but I mean, I think it's more than a struggle these past couple rounds.
Nade right over the top, just for the sole purpose to break any traps. Spreads out. It's a nice idea on paper. Izzy is elsewhere though. This is Brave's B site. You've got to remember how good he looked in the build-up. Back to mid, Mandatory go. The belly of the beast as Eternal Fire. Just wait behind this Nebula as it goes up. Not yet re-clearing that space. Got to be careful they don't overextend here and give a chance to a scrappy Mandatory side.
I mean, the entry pick, that will bring Enzo's res back on, or up on top, but at the same time, I know we're favouring Eternal Fire, but that's 2, 1 versus 1. One against an AWP, and Anima's just spamming through a smoke. That's as easy as it probably will get for Eternal Fire here.
Extremely clean. Anima building towards this ult. One away when the round ends. Kushner as well, Showstopper available. And then we'll get to a point where Mandatory need to make a pause for themselves as well. A win to make them the first French team in a grand final of an interregional event since Gentlemates won Ascension in 2023. Their assistant coach at the time, the current head coach of Mandatory now.
Drone is down.
Finally, we see a little bit more priority put towards A. As Kellogg's missed shot through middle, we will get that group up.
They're grouping really early though, which will allow Eternal Fire to mid-round, which they have done effectively quite a few times now. And as they have an eye on mid, they have an eye on B main. Starting to think in the back of your heads, right, well, it can only be one place, that's towards A.
Just about to wonder, does Sivov have the lineup? The KO knife. It's going to land towards elbow. The reposition of Izzy into this back corner shouldn't be suppressed. Trap stay up, guarded well by Kushner instead. Everything from which to work. Cam still relaying info back to the rest of the team. Anima taking his timing but losing his head inside the process. 4-on-4 situation. Mandatory stabilizing mid-round.
If Mandatory can get on towards site, that's a res in which they can use.
Cider staving off any more aggression, but lost to the fire and flames himself. Golf the opposite way. Wall goes up to defend the backline as Mandatory mow their way through defender spawn, repossessed. It's Brave that has to send them packing from his B site once more. With a smoke placed, it's one of his own to re-engage. Clean shot onto Mikey, needs to flick for the follow-up, but Hip is right by his side, and so Mandatory move a man in front.
Hip now holding on towards main. Big 1 versus 1 against Izzy that he needs to win out and can.
Sivov in the clutch. Not a player often put to the hot seat. His opportunity here. All that really stands between Mandatory and maybe moving up to a map point. It looks a little more likely. Kushner low needs to stick for the half. Sivov will send him from the site. A clutch for him. And with that, Mandatory taking 12.
That's the big thing. Mandatory finally hit 12 and can release a little bit of pressure. It was a spicy round to say the least. The east side felt held firmly. A 2v1 which Sivov has to work from. And I think the big thing for me is Mandatory being able to pivot so quickly. Them working as a pack. They didn't even need to use any ultimates there. They still have them in pocket. And the big one for me is the fact they still have Kyo's ultimate. If that's used, which it is, you're going to have to see Izzy going nowhere near that site to allow the setup to survive. It doesn't.
Immediately dealt with. But in terms of the space that Mandatory have achieved, not all too much. They get into heaven, same as they did in the previous round. It was the reaction which we credited them for though. Steel Garden coming in, guns stripped away from the Eternal Fire defense. The classic in the corner is good enough for Izzy. Shorty from elbow, Anima locking it down, breaking both arms of this push as Eternal Fire can hang on for at least one more.
They don't just break both arms, they break the whole entire push, right? Like, it falls apart. Mandatory expect respect for the ultimates that they used, and no wonder we're going to get a timeout here because they did not check any corners whatsoever and didn't even have a smoke towards CT when they got Heaven. It allowed for an easy peek from Kushner. Again, like Mandatory, they are doing well, don't get me wrong, but they are also being a little bit, I guess, overconfident in certain scenarios, and again, something, a phrase that we always use, they're not dotting their I's and crossing their T's, they're not paying due diligence within the round.
Eternal Fire given pathways back into this. You look at the timeline, it speaks for itself. 4 from 5, but all it takes is one round win to notch Mandatory. 1-1, equalize the series, move on to Haven, the map which I expected to turn things around, but we've hit that watershed moment sooner than the minimum expected of this best of 5. I mean, you look at the comp as well, as I said before, it has an overall 61% round win rate, the majority of that towards the defense, but you've still got such powerful utility to command the respect of Eternal Fire in areas of the map. We got that towards Heaven, but the flood back out left a lot to be desired.
I mean, they could have done the exact same thing from the round previous in terms of pivoting towards B, but that's all well and good within hindsight. Poking and prodding mid for the first time in a few rounds.
Very slow approach from Mandatory once again. Got the insert of hip outside of A. Not seeing Eternal Fire go for any of the rehearsed openings from the strat book we would see them do previously. They're not showing that anywhere near the level of aggression that we got against Go Next, or anyone else for that matter on this map. And so to wall up. But as the aftershock comes in, it's enough of a deterrent. Mid push made! Kellogg's with a huge shot onto Anima, the rotate player, the support network of this Eternal Fire side, as it's an isolated Brave in the back that's got to do it all for now.
Has to hold on, but the thing is, they wasn't able to, as Kellogg's looks to drag Mandatory forward. The showstopper doesn't hit, and Izzy spam does. The spray working out. Sivov halves the rifle, tries to bait out the peak, and well, it will come his way, but not when he wants it. Time is getting low. Eternal Fire, they're getting caught off guard here. A 1v1 to win the map, and Sivov can't do it as he keeps Eternal Fire alive for 1 round longer.
Sivov attempting to simulate another 2 versus 1 clutch situation. The last round that Mandatory won came under his prowess in that kind of position, but Izzy does so well here to transfer that second and turn it into a triple. 4 rounds is the gap. There are ults available for the defense, something which they will continue to rely upon to win them even more chances in this, but for now, Mandatory still with breathing room.
Kushner doesn't want anything to do with this, has to respect the stuff that's been put his way and dips all the way back towards screens. Eternal Fire need to be careful in terms of if there's any lurkers that get that far up a ramp, and while you're seeing Cider jump spot there, there still is timing for which Mandatory could have went further forward up ramp.
We've seen it a couple of times now when Mandatory will group as a team, and for this comp to work, it relies on things like lineups and like kills to open up the round. You can't just play patient the whole time. You need something to get you going, and as Izzy attempts his best form of resistance, it falls flat, and with it the site collapses.
Armor getting used, and it's missed as Kushner drops out as he noted he's not somehow been able to survive! There's no way!
3 kills!
2! No,
One bullet!
Not ready yet.
Now, needs to be careful. Up close as Kushner's operator, and would have heard that smoke so close. Ends it out when you just think Mandatory have the chance to push it over the line. They miss out.
And as Eternal Fire have constantly fallen in that derby to the uncrowned kings of Turkey, it's a hero moment by both Kushner and Anima. A double out the op, but it's a triple kill from only a couple of bullets in his Phantom as the lineup left them in such a position. Eternal Fire were only able to win 3 rounds across both maps in their second halves yesterday, but now they only need 3 rounds to take us to overtime on Split.
That one nade lineup has eliminated the full Cypher setup on A, with the exception of the cam. It's been taken back.
Eternal Fire have seen that coming towards B at the very least. Izzy not placing those traps. No mid control from Mandatory. so passive for the time being. Both Hip and Mikey, back so far as Sewers, they like to do these delayed split pushes where 3 players will push in from one end, you're waiting to clear out that lurk, and when it doesn't come in, then they take the timing. I'm wondering if we're going to get a little bit of the same here, but the concern just has to be, is the main push enough by itself? And Kushner doesn't seem to think so.
I mean, the concession that you'd make here is it is the eco round, right? It's the lesser bright. The only thing is, though, there's not a lot of rounds in which to work with. The smoke will dissipate, and so will the rest of Mandatory. It's a flawless round, and the confidence of Eternal Fire seems to grow and grow.
The fire are burning bright yet again, and this awkward timing which Mandatory like to use and abuse on different maps from Split to Pearl. That coming up in the 4th, but not guaranteed so long as they're not able to convert here. Eternal Fire in the second half. 7 rounds picked up already, looking to make it an 8th, as they did against Focus. Down 12-4. This is the kind of character and quality that we can call upon from them. And to replicate it in this best-of-5 environment while they still lead by a map is the exact sort of thing that makes you a champion contender.
Drone is down.
Drones noted 2 players. The salvo's already being prepared. Still Mandatory have 2 players working on mid. That's when they're activating as Mandatory trying to hold on. That utility is good, but so is Kushner. He's able to get a pick. Something in which Mandatory will be able to, I'll have to fight back from.
Big kill from the AWP as well, because this isn't something Mandatory have been able to contain so far. They failed to do it against Focus yesterday, but seemed to be good enough when they were a player down. Now this situation, 4v5, favors the Fire, and they're prepared to fend it off.
3 players against 4. Showstopper over the wall! Mikey got the pick, but not before the rocket was shot. It explodes, and now this lead just grows more and more. Time is ticking away. This is going to have to be heroics of the highest form, which will not come to light unless Enzo can do it all by himself.
He has the res, but it's just too far away to get a teammate back up on their feet. Has to do it solo. Plant's going to come in at the very least, but Eternal Fire are bearing on down.
Yeah, as confirmation, the last rifle round, which Mandatory will probably have, is ending up in Eternal Fire's way. We will go to 12-11, and Mandatory will have to throw pots, pans, and maybe even the bloody kitchen sink to try and get this over the line. And if not, we will be in overtime.
Not the position you want to find yourselves in whatsoever. Haven the map up next. The winner of this brings momentum into that one.
This goes here.
And while Eternal Fire like to settle it in overtime, a difference of just 2 rounds, this is the final opportunity for Mandatory to do it in regulation. Kushner prepared for the jump peek, but yet to pull the trigger. It's just information back to the Fire for now, as they play the same setup. They finally figured it out. Izzy on A, Brave to B, execution ready, Mandatory. This is your chance.
Just sending it, trying to get themselves onto side, but it's 3 players you have to go up against. And Eternal Fire have already put a stop to this push.
Last chance saloon with 60 seconds on the clock. Mandatory move back to mid, but for the first time this round.
The other thing is, when Eternal Fire do have to retake, if they, once we get to that position, if we do ever get to that position, is they've got a Rolling Thunder and a Cosmic Divide in which to work with.
Sivov does hold on to the spike though, so if he can survive and get it planted, then there's every chance they can stop that kind of reaction. Only temporary though, as he leads along the back of the pack. trailblazing their way through the tower block. Ultimate invested. Anima goes early on top of the wall, dropping down is keloqz. He is in the ground. Another player goes down. Enzo just the one hit in a clutch, but no time to try and take it. Eternal Fire have extended play. Will go to overtime after all.
Both teams have put forward a 9-3 half and a 9-3 half. It just shows you how good they can both be on defense, but we go again all the way. Regulation is not enough between these two on split. And just when you also got to consider how good Eternal Fire were on this map.
Get ready to see defender rounds traded here, Cairo. In terms of what the variation is, Eternal Fire highlighting the possibility at a quick A-pop. As we said before, for how good Mandatory were at the start of this game, you can only highlight the shortcomings of the comp so much. With the opportunities that they had, went squandered. Now Eternal Fire's chance to put on some serious pressure as Izzy is feigning out this lurk. It's more than just him that gets spotted by the knife.
It's not only that. It's the fact that now the quick pivot comes through and towards mid. Eternal Fire, they started to get a decent enough read towards the end of that second half.
True.
That first half, sorry.
The spike is still postured towards A though, and all of this just feels like a fake from Eternal Fire. Re-clear mid, cause some issues, maybe split through vent if you're able to get it.
You don't want to though.
Have to try and clear it. keloqz waiting, double stack, both drop in, both players dead. The fire turns to fumes as Mandatory have managed to do enough for now. The flash is brilliant as Hit plays himself in, a little over aggressive. Brave finding three of the absolute best. The wall goes up, 30 seconds left. Enzo trying to do his best. He'll go back through and trade information. Elbow taken away from them for now. Spike to be planted behind the support of the Nebula. 2-on-2 and it all goes quiet.
Obscuring vision.
Still, they have to get through that wall, and Mandatory aren't waiting, has it? They're coming straight through. Reposition from main though. Finally the wall drops, and Brave is solo.
All on Anima, caught to the corner. Enzo looking to add more, but Anima stops it in his tracks, stamps it out. What a statement from Eternal Fire, that their individuals can flip around regardless of what the odds look like stacked against them.
The commentator's curse comes to light once again. What did you say before this started? Be ready for both teams to trade defensive rounds. And at the first time of asking, Eternal Fire managed to brawl their way through and win an attack round. Now, Haza, after 7 rounds in a row, can Eternal Fire make it 8 and finish this map here and now?
They've done it before and you expect them to do it again. It feels all but likely at this point in time. A foregone conclusion. Not to stress it that much this way, as Mandatory do still have a chance as the round is ongoing, but how many situations more do they possibly have to bottle? 4 finals, all failed. Is there a chance they get to the 5th? Or does it stop right here and now? Kushner catching out the mid play, that's damage. The execution is set in motion. Eternal Fire, can you stop this?
I mean, at this point, they already have. Mandatory have decided to pause and wait, and this is allowing Eternal Fire to start to lean heavier towards the A side.
3 players called over. Izzy behind the map. Cider from the corner. Info on both by keloqz. And Cider continues to support Anima, the player that did go down, but still bodies on the site for Eternal Fire. The salvos walk away with yet another 20 seconds or less. When you discount the spike plant, I don't think it's going to go down. The only players to drop are on the Mandatory side. Mikey attempts his absolute best, but Sivov still can't save them. He'll try his best. It's not enough. Eternal Fire have turned this one around.
That I don't even know where to begin with that one, Hazza. Honest to God, my hair is a disaster because I've had my head on my head in my hands so many times. The rounds that we just witnessed there are nothing short of amazing in the way that, like, Eternal Fire showed some resistance, the utility from the Teho to delay, as well as that supported by the Breach and Astra combinations. All of it together was great. Mandatory's defense just as good. But when it comes to individual performances, when it comes to people you can depend upon, Eternal Fire just came out on top.
I said this before, that we may just be waiting.
Fire just came out on top.
I said this before, that we may just be waiting up until Haven to see Mandatory turn it around, but with all of that potential momentum lost, Split going the opposite way, Eternal Fire in a brilliant position, still only losing maps against BBL Pacific, the record continues. Is there anything that can be done to reverse sweep this now? I leave that with the analysts.
What just happened?
Dude, it's insane.
Game, I feel like, look, we've lost our hair, or at least it grew white, lost the hair, then regrew it, and I don't know, what the hell? That game had so many phases, right? Mandatory at the start had a really great start, 9-3 half, it looked solid, defensive-sided comp, then the attack happened, and there was a comeback, and oh, MP, help me here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen many great comebacks in this tournament already, but I think that was one of the best. That was amazing. 9-3 curse coming through. I'll do you even one better. 11-3 curse. I think that was crazy how Eternal Fire were able to come back and close out attacking side round instantly in overtime. Crazy work from players like Brave and Anima. I mean, Brave single-handedly brought that OT round to them.
Man, I feel like there were so many pivot rounds. Sure, you could bring it up to Anima in that one specific round, you know, with a fight on round, but then there was this moment from Anima, and then there were different moments where Cider just pops off. Look, this one as well. Like, this whole game was a highlight reel, dude. This round was a highlight. What are you on about, man? This was just ridiculous. Round after round, Mandatory got so close. Eternal Fire showed that their individuals can stack up against any of their opponents and come away with brilliant moments.
Kushner 8 entries, 8 first kills, and that was a struggle that Mandatory faced on the attacking side. The operator of Kushner striking Mandatory down time and time and time again. It was amazing what they were able to do with the operator and the triple operator as well in round 23, I think it was. They were like, let's just triple it up.
Yeah, I mean, they knew that they weren't aggressing quickly due to their comp, so triple up, sure, okay. I know you've got a round to break down, MP, and this was before the chaos towards the end of the game. This one was when actually they were doing quite well in the first half.
Yeah, Mandatory. I think this was the brilliance of the Vice composition. Let me play this a little bit further. I'll freeze frame in a second here. Right here, Cider is on top of a Vice wall. You have to bait this Vice wall out. But look at how exposed he is when he has to go and bait that Vice wall. And when we play, the Vice wall doesn't even get baited. He didn't go far enough. That's insane stuff that happens. And the thing that was crucial for the side of Mandatory on the defensive side, not only they had that Vice wall, but they had the Sage wall here as well, which put Eternal Fire in a really awkward place. It was really hard to break that defensive side of Mandatory, but in the end, I mean, the other side was crazy for Eternal Fire. Mandatory, they couldn't quite get to the side. Their whole attacking side kind of relies on them getting to the side and setting up for that post plant. Then it's impossible to retake that, but they couldn't quite get there.
It's hard to not give kudos to both teams, right? Given how, you know, one side of the game it was at moments, but Eternal Fire were never considered out of the fight. Now, how backbreaking is this, though, right? You've got a chance to win a map, get a one-on-one score, exchange the first map picks. It's ridiculous. Now you've got to go into Haven. Sure, it's your own pick, although, you know, I don't think that really matters in a best of 5. After that, do you really have what it takes to just perform in a reverse sweep?
Yeah, this is a type of game that you absolutely have to look into. Enzo, Kellogg's, Hip. I would say this voice of reason, especially Enzo, who has been here time and time again. He has been in a really high tier environment as well, so you have to tap into that experience and pull yourself back together.
Well, we'll be finding out if Mandatory do have what it takes to pull themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm going to go have a shower because I sweated way too much after that.
One time for your mind, get rockin'. One time for your mind, we poppin'. One time for your mind, no maybes. Just yes, yo, release the stress. In the place to be, we rhyme. Getting down on the mic, no crime. Hip hop, everybody know it's time. Yeah, gonna rock like
seem to increase. A player who, on traditional duelists, your Raze and your Jet, seems to perform to the highest capability. He will need to be a real highlight for Mandatory in this map of Haven.
Showed it on both maps yesterday, the level to which he can rise. A lot more costly in terms of first deaths. The success rate isn't quite there. However, it's the trades and the space making which was everything. Izzy already starting to clash with those Mandatory players, but the pack fights back and they can now move towards the ace side.
Again, this tail coming through and delaying Mandatory from moving any further. We know they like to play slow. And Eternal Fire looking to reaggress, which is punished. Cider, no more Tail utility for the rest of this round.
Eternal Fire running themselves into the ground. Walking maybe a more apt way of putting it, because it's slow. And it's a bit silly. I think we saw Cider fall foul to similar mistakes before. Mandatory have called a pause on this, waited for that regenerative utility to come back up. The stun and the reveal matched with the paranoia perfectly. You'd think it spelled success, but Eternal Fire hold that sight.
There is no way they should have won that. Just because of the bodies that were on Mandatory, the patience that they paid. It wasn't even as if Eternal Fire had better positions either. They were caught out by utility, but Mandatory just do not hit the shots. They do not win their fights. I think Brave's the only one that had superior positioning. Mandatory, this can't be chronic. This cannot be an issue that fails them right here, right now.
Mandatory saving some of that key utility, but already Brave. The Gatling gun fires away. Oh, Brave! 3 kills, 2 of them through smoke. This is a quad written all over it. Brave locking it down. Flawless finish to the anti-eco. It's only going to bolster the guns they bring back into the next.
I'm lost for words. It is only an eco at the end of the day, but like, my God, Brave, buy yourself a lottery ticket, mate.
Lotto player, please. Life game, life game. Brave is doing this on the reg, though. And once more, I mean, even look to overtime on the previous map. Those individuals unchecked make all the difference. Eternal Fire can punish you when you least expect it. That's the anti-eco, whatever. You don't stress the fact too much for now. But Mandatory need momentum more than anything else. This now, it's got to be like 12 rounds in a row or something, which Eternal Fire have won between the second half of Split into Haven.
It's 10 at the minute, to be exact.
Right, the bonus, and it will be 12. So, let's see.
Yeah,
it's a strong one. 3 Vandals.
And with the A site being so open, Brave still having both TPs, he'll be looking to try and escape quickly, but he always finds himself in short. Oh, he doesn't even get a chance to escape. Can Mandatory convert from a player advantage?
You'd expect them to do so. Kellogg's cuts open the site. Izzy gone. And Sheriff shot spiked down. Has been pinged out. In terms of utility, what is there to look at? Well, would have been the Link player. Hips cut out the drone from Cider, so Kushner caught in an awkward spot, fighting forwards from that flash, but nothing given. Reaps no reward. And the streak should stop here and now, Cairo. It is just 10 rounds, but even then, so important that Mandatory could do what they've done.
Guardian back in the hand, what damage can get done? Still, Anima finds a kill. But with that being said, Kellogg's getting 4. And on top of that, the Blade Storm, which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the most straight away impact flow. You have to get kills for it to be impact, but it will have impact on the economy depending on where the rounds lie.
30 seconds left.
Mandatory did really well when they got to post, but they have to do this more often, right? Hit is so good at getting the lux in, finding the position, and if Eternal Fire are going to rotate early and not pay attention to what's happening on B main, for instance, he'll get a lot of value from there.
Set combo for the fire early, or reveal right down the throat of Anima. Cider's going to walk in to a spring-loaded setup. There were two players waiting in sewers, neither of them capitalizing, nor Izzy on the operator. Positive beginnings for Mandatory, but they will be met with resistance as they move towards the seaside, and the canary in the coal mine is the spy cam. Kushner knows it. He's got to go big.
He's already got the first. He's looking for more. You can see him baiting with the idea of peeking from backside. He's brought hit blow. There's still more players to deal with, and the support is there. Esports! Eternal fire! They're looking to blunt the hammer of Mandatory.
As blunt as it could possibly be already. This is huge from Kushner. First kill, the position right next to the backside box in a way which would mask at any potential flash. Cutting through the corner of default means that he's effectively antied in that position.
This goes here.
The Cypher player knowing his pathing well. And with the C site secured,
Cover going out.
Mandatory break away from the conditioning of the default and look to set themselves free of it with this follow-up execution. But of any players you could possibly hope to execute into, Brave and the Q would not be the ones.
Exactly, mate. On top of that, every time Mandatory have went to see, it has been a failure. Sure, there's only been 4 rounds, and the only round they have won is on the A side. But you start to get that idea built up in your head.
Is he not so effective thus far with the op? Matters not. Kellogg's cut out. Removed from the round nice and early. Had the blades available, so should things have found themselves in a position for Mandatory where they felt like value could be picked up, then yeah, they would have gone for it, and so the next player spotted. One drone short of a full belt. Plenty of tools that Mandatory can make things happen with in this round. But Brave is arriving towards A. And with 30 seconds left, there's only one place that Mandatory can go.
30 seconds left.
Revealing area.
Finally. Utility in. There's still so many players here in which to deal with. The paranoia, the defensive one hasn't been cleared. The Mandatory, they know about the position from short, but while they know about it, they just can't deal with it. Spike on the ground, and it's another round where Mandatory flounder and just do not have any sort of resistance. 4 for Eternal Fire, and there's not much more that can be said about that.
Yeah, we need a timeout for Mandatory right now.
100%.
I'm stepping in, I'm making an intervention, like the headmaster watching the school bully just pummel
Enemy remaining.
the poor innocent kid. It's happened again. It's round on round. Painful to watch. Ultimately, we're just both bystanders to all of this. Going to be the eco that they go for, so sure, you can save it for the full buy if you want, but Anima's going to have his ult when that one arrives. I think Sivov has got quite a lot to do if he wants to have that rolling thunder. I mean,
Still not managed to break the trap. I think that sums up Mandatory's night so far. I mean, tools in which to work with that can get the job done. Cam gone. Well, Kellogg's blade comes through at the right time here. Updraft, dash to backside. They've still not cleared Kushner. And Anima takes Kellogg clean out the sky.
and what happens now? Recon gets shot out. Mandatory run away from Garage. Steps should be heard. Into the next trap they go. It's panicked. And while in this desperate maneuver, they have managed to put Cider under duress from this position. He will excel. Salvos and rifle combined to clean up. That's disgusting from Cider. Any one player on the fire side that you try and pressure will put you down.
But, I mean, fundamentally, right, if we want to look at the specifics here, one player on their own, get both taken out by the salvos, and they just peak one by one, right? Like, there's no double up, there's no peak together, 1, 2, 3, you count it. Like, if we're going to be harsh here, which we should be towards the top tier sorry, the top, like, top 4 of tier 2, sorry. Like, we should be harsh, and Mandatory are not doing the basics, which they should be doing right.
Top 3 now as well.
Yeah.
It gets more prominent. Util combo, stun to set this Hunter's Fury forward. Combination comes back towards Mandatory's position in A lobby, but Eternal Fire have fumbled some of their own big pieces here. Does place Izzy in a position where he can cut off the supply chain. As the smoke is well timed, Enzo can break that trap, but nothing more. The op remains to be the most pertinent piece in this round, because while the Initiator will try and reclaim some of this space, Eternal Fire are just so persistent in terms of position. And there you go, Izzy cracks the whip. That's Enzo gone, 4v4.
Izzy's got an idea about this being an A hit, and knows that there's a timing on A long as the players come in. Shot known about with the op, CT not. And again, it's the same issues that have been cropping up time and time again. Sevov won't even get a chance and hit. Well, his late luck that happened to work on the rifle round will not work here. 20 seconds to rescue a 1v3. And he doesn't even get the first bite at the cherry. 6 rounds confirmed on the defence of Haven. That will be at least even on the half if Mandatory were even able to bounce back.
And this is another round where, despite Izzy's great work in sewer, look at this kill from Anima. The discipline to stay spawn side, but be on an angle which is fairly defensible, I think it's fair to say, from both the Paranoia and the Flash. Regroup, retake backside control. And let me just reiterate, at 19 years of age, he is that one left to be said. Homework.
3 tests at Ascension quality opposition, which will prepare you for the main tournament at the end. It's the start of the year, and I look forward to the development of the teams. But at this point, we have to say there is development still to be done.
You know, Cairo, you and me, the tough sell, the Scott, ever the optimists as we are. I think just the most concerning thing for me is how previously Mandatory always just seemed to peak so early in a split. The first final, the one which they've made the last 2 of. Something has to change. Improvements to be made. This round looks much better. The Sheriffs are snappy. So is Kushner. The Q walks back in. What can he do? Almost everything flicked, not enough. Izzy is the player on which this remains, but is shot to pieces by Enzo. And so with the captain clawing one back, that's a second. Mandatory's defense has been their best, but if you can't get there without a couple more rounds, then do you leave yourself any opportunity?
Listen, big stuff there in the end, big stuff. And you know what? It's good that Mandatory get one back. They need to get 4, but this is semblance of life. The only question I ask though is, has 4 enough on the attack, right? This is Haven we're talking about, and I know Mandatory's best side is the defense. Listen, once we get there, we'll find the answers. I don't think Kellogg's is getting out of here.
Sure, it works. Love tap, twinkle toes, Kellogg's creeps around the corner, all good. Tis but a flesh wound, and with the op in his hands, it's exactly the gun for the job. 1 bullet is all he needs. I almost feel like that's maybe not been the case so far, though. The op is a little here and there after all. Not quite invited to that clash between himself and Izzy right now. Is Eternal Fire usually inserting a player A deep, unable to do so at this stage in the round. It's a much more regressive hold, but with Anima, that A-Link anchor, and already Kushner this deep. Enzo's going to try and fake this with a drone or something. Has to clear it. Dead man walking. Acceleration on the A plane now. And we do get this op. Dueling against each other, and who's going to win? Of course, it's Izzy.
It's the acceleration of a Citron Hazard, as you called him earlier. There is somewhat of something to work with here. The operator of Izzy trying to hold on to backside themselves, but Mikey is low. That's the only other exception, and now two players low, and it's Kushner to try and clutch up. Okay, there's something in which a Mandatory can work with here.
Simov was low, that's the first player, but the point of contact is more than just a chess piece.
Last round.
Takes that trade himself.
And what you got?
Final round before the half ends. Look, Mandatory find 4 rounds here. The chase.
We talked about it last time about discipline issues. Like Eternal Fire can fall to those. Find that like you see solo peaks where they shouldn't get more than what they get. Oh, I mean, like for instance, Izzy there, like shouldn't have been able to get that. Uses their own smoke against the Mandatory. They've put at a disadvantage. How do they get a player back on their side?
It's crazy. Only player on the Eternal Fire side in the top 10 for ACS this event, but the graph continues to chart upwards as Izzy wants to reach new heights. Op in his hands, yet another kill picked up, and Mandatory's worst nightmare is starting to become the reality which they live in. Brave, darting down long, more space taken, you go C. You've got to get past him at some point, whether it's through garage or this position. Mandatory are really clutching at straws right now. They've not been able to put on any real pressure to make this a problem for Eternal Fire.
Trap waiting to be triggered.
30 seconds.
Although it will not come on 8. To B they go.
Triggered.
And again, you're looking at what the retake looks like for the defense. That Rolling Thunder being the key point, and Hit being a late win condition. With that being gone as well, it slowly seems as if the walls are closing in amongst Mandatory.
Even the ult from short side there. Aftershock combined. Anima in proxy has won the fights without even having his feet on sight. 9-3 it finishes. Bullets in the body. If you think that things couldn't have got worse for Mandatory coming out of Split, turns out it can. Only a few rounds now for Eternal Fire to make that final. And while Mandatory's defense was their best foot put forwards against Focus, you are asking a lot of them here.
Listen, every time Mandatory have been on defense, they have won the pistol round. They need to win it here. Third time's the charm on map number 3 to come back from a 9-3 half.
It's not going to be for the faint of heart either when you look stylistically at how this defense has functioned. Good win rate in the retakes, but that's what you're banking on, the setup. See where they often look to try and enable that, so the reaction will be swift from the French. Players draped in the red jerseys looking to try and spill some blood, paint the town in the kind of color that they would like right now as Brave marches forwards on the other side of the smoke. It's messy. Kellogg's letting loose of a couple shots, but Mikey backsights the one who's going to support them. Anima doing everything, but it's just not enough. And so with the pistol in the bag, Mandatory might just have a chance.
Listen, Mandatory were able to win games on pistol round defences. They probably would have won it by now. That's 3 in a row, but there's still plenty of rounds to play. And when it comes to the rifle rounds, that's when Mandatory begin to fall apart. For those at home who maybe have not seen Mandatory on Haven defence, they do put up a fair resistance. It's something in which to, I think, probably one of the best Haven defences we'll see across all of Tier 2.
Yeah, you have to give credit where it's due. Eternal Fire battled back on their own defender's side on Split, but Mandatory could equally do so here on Haven. As I mentioned before, the C site, the most secure. Stun from Izzy gets in past the cyber cage. Mikey playing around this, but he's not long for this world. Bulldog of Sivov out in the open, has to be careful, gets caught. Oh no, not like this, Mandatory. After winning the last round, it's the captain and Kellox to try and claw things back. They're worried about the flank, but the issue lies in front. Freeze, reload, fire creeping closer, peek round the corner, damage, Cider to do it, but no, Mandatory get through. It is painful to watch though, may I add.
Listen, all Mandatory need to do is hold on for dear life. They've won both anti-eco and pistol. And Eternal Fire, once they reach 10, is game on, right? We essentially assume that with the damage they were able to do in that round, that the rifle round is almost a sure certainty. But with that being said, Mandatory have done enough to keep themselves alive for the second half and give themselves a chance to come back into this one.
One enemy remaining.
It was barely close, right? Mandatory all over Eternal Fire on the defense so far.
All missiles away.
Let's see if it can get better. Didn't convert the bonus against Focus. Tough task, made even tougher here. Couple of rifles though. Enzo, near to that Hunter's Fury. Such a useful tool into the retake, but no real chance to get it going for now. Oh, Sivov, caught in transition. That was the spam from Brave. He did that against Focus as well, and it's another angle unaccounted for, which has put Eternal Fire in front. Brave rolling with the punches. A little bit more of that, and Eternal Fire will be home and dry.
That's all they're hoping for, just to reach round number 10. And it looks like it's all certainty, like the Mandatory trying to get back in, and they can't. And the more layers of utility come forward, Eternal Fire putting a trap towards CT.
And there's nothing to engage with this either. I mean, Mikey has a smoke, Kellogg's a couple. But more than anything, it has to be damage limitation. Kellogg's to not get caught. Does by the trap. Taken down by the spike. Okay. State of play. Double digits for Eternal Fire right now. Mandatory, half as many rounds into the rifle. The full buy. This, the opportunity to close that gap. 4. Not that far apart, but Eternal Fire have looked very strong once they've got to post. And I think that's probably the biggest problem that Mandatory will have to face right now into those retakes where they have shown success.
Yes, you've got it spot on. I mean, the thing is, Eternal Fire win this round and they will break the defender's economy. They are walking along a knife's edge, the French side, and they've got to try and brawl their way through A.
Contact. Who's taking it towards Sewer? It's a stun actually out on long. Instead, players line up. Kellogg's only able for one. Now, Enzo brings the ult online, but in his disengage, it's Mikey that needs to come up big. Lobby under wraps. Mandatory making this one look pretty easy in the end. But Brave's still alive, and as long as he is, anything can happen. 2 kills lent to Anima, but can't clutch it out with what was given to him. And so, with that situation, Mandatory will make it 4.
Keeping themselves within touching distance, Hazza, that's the big thing. And then also having their own ultimates come online, as well as getting through Eternal Fires. That was a Rolling Thunder invested, probably one of the biggest. Armageddon nowhere near online. I mean, Mandatory are coming up to their own Rolling Thunder as well. So there's big pieces starting to come into play for both sides, as it is almost, and it feels like, a dash towards the end of this map.
Look at the replays. So many 1v1s taken there as we're already into the next round. No rest for the Wicked. Mandatory with this mid-cam. It's so cheeky from Hip over the top of B. Ends up placing the trap, walks away from the situation. Preparing themselves for the possibility of a quick pop up the guts, but nothing comes their way. And so Eternal Fire very quickly set their sights onto this A site once again.
Stun was good as well, just couldn't quite find a player from it, Sivov, but he might get found himself. Very low, the OMG play, the outplay, it's come through at the right time. Eternal Fire getting the spike,